This ghetto thug, DiJonai Carrington on your screen, she cannot play another WNBA game ever again. This ghetto thug you see on your screen, DiJonai Carrington, posted white privilege and tagged the Indiana Fever after she got ejected after raking Sophie Cunningham across the head. When you can literally injure yourself and get injured in multiple ways, DiJonai Carrington raked Sophie Cunningham across the head. It got reviewed by the officials. They ended up and deemed it as a flagrant foul too and ejected her from the game.
Welcome back to the Buzzer Update. I'm back today with yet another significant and thrilling WNBA tale. Today, something happened on the WNBA court that caught everyone's attention right away. Fans are chatting about an event that happened during the Sky vs. Fever game. What precisely took place then? Let's get right into the video without wasting any more time. Watch this video clip first. Let's go after that.
20 was an absolute steal for DiJonai Carrington. Here's Cunningham up ahead of the field, lays it in, plus the foul, and then Cunningham gets into the face of DiJonai Carrington.
Just one play. That was all it took to transform an already heated WNBA game into yet another significant controversy. During a fast break, Sophie Cunningham was attacking the hoop when DiJonai Carrington made high contact with her from behind. Cunningham fell. Carrington's note came to an almost immediate end when the call was escalated to a flagrant 2 after the officials reviewed the action and dismissed him. However, the dispute didn't end there since Carrington changed the subject entirely after leaving the court.
Craziness going on in the
Hold on.
Take a walk with me, take a walk with me, take a walk with me. There is craziness going on in the WNBA. DiJonai Carrington tweeted out white privilege from the locker room of a game that she was playing in. Get this, she fouls Sophie Cunningham hard. Sophie Cunningham, obviously a white person, fouls her hard. Flagrant 2, gets ejected, goes to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now here's the kicker to me. A flagrant 2 has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks successful.
She accused the incident of being about white privilege in a social media post. Suddenly, what had begun as a basketball game turned into a much larger dispute involving social media, player treatment, race, officiating, and the mounting tension surrounding Sophie Cunningham. This is the interesting part, though. After a frustrating ejection, was this just an emotional response? Was Carrington attempting to raise a more significant issue with the treatment of players? Or did the social media reaction make it more difficult to defend an already contentious moment? And what transpired on that court between Carrington and Cunningham? Let's dissect the whole thing.
So Carrington is a dirty player, probably the dirtiest player in the league. And then she has the audacity to go online right after her ejection and claim that she got ejected because of racism. She definitely learned well from Angel Reese. Whenever something goes against you, just pull out that race card. I think she's jealous of my natural blonde hair. She'll never have this hair. I literally got clotheslined in the air, and this clown has to turn it into race.
It was just an aggressive basketball move. Did the contact go too far? Could the league take more disciplinary action against Carrington? Perhaps the most important question of all is whether this incident will impact her WNBA career. Is it possible that this incident will have an impact on her WNBA career? However, there is something crucial you should be aware of before drawing any judgments. The WNBA has suspended DiJonai Carrington as a result of this incident. Cunningham was not going to act as though nothing had occurred. She confronted Carrington after the contact, and officials and teammates intervened before things became worse. However, Cunningham's post-event attitude was especially intriguing. She said the bird was superfluous. However, she didn't seem interested in making the situation even more significant than it already was. And that is significant because emotions can escalate within seconds in professional sports. One player believes they are being disrespected. Someone else feels unfairly singled out. A referee renders a verdict. Supporters take sides. Suddenly, everyone is fighting over something that occurred in less than 2 seconds. In essence, Cunningham's attitude was that she would not let the tragedy rule her life. On the internet, however, that was entirely different.
Some kind of dirty foul, so to speak. This is the same player that poked Caitlin Clark in the eye with her long-ass fingernails last year. Take a look.
This clip is going viral of Caitlin Clark getting poked in the eye by DiJonai Carrington. It happened in the first quarter when Clark tried passing the ball to her teammate Aaliyah Boston. but Carrington poked Clark in the eye while trying to deflect the pass. No foul was called, but Clark had to take a second to regain her composure. In the third quarter, DiJonai was defending Caitlin again when Caitlin hit DiJonai in the head, knocking out one of her contacts. No foul was called, but DiJonai had to take a second to put her contact back in.
Here's one more crucial point. DiJonai Carrington has previously been involved in a number of difficult and contentious situations regarding Caitlin Clark. Furthermore, Sophie Cunningham's egregious 2 fouls have once again prompted grave concerns. Players who frequently participate in risky or excessively aggressive play should be subject to harsher disciplinary action, according to many WNBA supporters, particularly when doing so endangers women's basketball and its top players. Carrington's suspension. Certain pundits have also called for Carrington's suspension. By certain pundits, will the WNBA take decisive action against Carrington at this point, or will the controversy eventually go away? Carrington tweeted about white privilege at the Indiana Fever after being expelled. The discourse, music, was instantly altered by that one post, since people were no longer merely discussing if the foul was deliberate. They were arguing over whether the decision was influenced by race. This is the point at which we should pause, because there is a significant distinction between claiming that Carrington posted this and claiming that the officials expelled her because of her race. The first is recorded. The second is still up for debate. The idea that the call was motivated by race was actually denied by Cunningham herself. She mentioned that she had been expelled for a similar performance in the past. That complicates matters more than just claiming that the league punished Carrington because Cunningham is white. But it doesn't instantly resolve every argument over officiating. There's no proof of that. This is crucial because social media frequently concludes a debate before all the facts have been presented. And that's where the internet started to split. After watching the video, some fans essentially stated that Carrington committed the foul, was removed, and then pointed the finger at everyone else. Others had a different perspective. They contended that Carrington was venting her annoyance at what she saw to be unfair treatment. These two perspectives are so dissimilar that neither should be taken for granted. Since we don't truly know everything that was going on emotionally for Carrington at the time, labeling someone a victim can become part of the issue. She had just been kicked out of a prominent game. She had witnessed the improvement of a play on a replay. She made an intensely emotional post as she was leaving the court and the audience was reacting. Athletes are people. They respond. They become irritated. They occasionally say things that they may subsequently rephrase. However, emotionality does not always equate to correctness. Furthermore, being incorrect about something does not always imply that all of the emotions underlying it were false. Social media typically eliminates that subtlety. Let's now immediately address another aspect of the narrative. You've undoubtedly come across online allegations that Carrington made threats against Cunningham. Although that is a severe accusation, I wouldn't portray it as truth based on the reliable information that is currently available. Carrington's contentious social media post after the ejection has been widely publicized. That is recorded, but a direct threat against Cunningham is a different matter, and I was unable to confirm credible reports proving that Carrington made such a threat. This distinction is important because when a story uses terms like threatened, attacked, targeted, or hated, viewers automatically infer something far more terrible has occurred. Reiterating something as fact without supporting proof can transform commentary into false information. Therefore, we are limiting this story to what is genuinely believable. Furthermore, without making anything up, there is already more than enough drama. This situation blew up for another important reason. Outside of the basketball court, Sophie Cunningham has emerged as one of the WNBA's most talked about players. Cunningham recently voiced strong opinions in public on transgender athletes participating in women's sports. Significant attention, support, and criticism were produced by her remarks. She has carried that controversy into games. The issue has been the subject of public protests and demonstrations, and the WNBA has already handled instances related to the larger discussion. Therefore, Carrington's foul did not happen in a vacuum. Cunningham was already being watched. People already had preconceived notions about Carrington and about her. Because of this, a single basketball play grew into something much more. Under different conditions, the same interaction might have sparked several hours of sports discussion. Rather, it turned into a new chapter in a long-running cultural dispute. In 2026, Professional athletes will have to deal with this. The final whistle does not signal the conclusion of the game. Millions of individuals on the internet become unofficial commentators as soon as the players step off the court. Videos are republished. A 2-second incident can turn into a 24-hour argument when slow-motion films start to appear, screenshots spread, followers examine body language, and individuals search for earlier events. Carrington was defended by some fans. Cunningham was defended by others. The officials were condemned by several. Carrington's post was condemned by several. Others mentioned disputes involving both players that had nothing to do with each other. And that's when these circumstances turn hazardous for all parties. Because every fresh piece of information is processed through the perspective of the side that social media has chosen. One thing is evident if you back Carrington. You see something different if you agree with Cunningham. You're most likely witnessing something entirely different if you don't like one of the teams. The basketball itself practically takes a back seat. Let's now pose the query that everyone is posing. Was that a filthy foul? In the end, viewers are free to disagree, but the officials were extremely clear in their assessment. After watching the action, they concluded that the contact satisfied the requirements for a flagrant 2. Cunningham was trying to lay up. Carrington made high contact from behind, and the authorities removed her because they thought the touch was excessive and needless. Stephanie White, the coach of the Fever, was in favor of the choice. Dangerous contact and malicious purpose are not always the same thing. Therefore, White's statement that she didn't think Carrington necessarily acted with malicious intent is crucial. Professional basketball occurs very rapidly, so a player can play recklessly or excessively without sitting there thinking, I want to seriously hurt this person. Players make snap judgments. Those choices can be poor at times. They can be really hostile at times. They can occasionally have detrimental effects. The rules are in place because of this. The social media post might be the aspect of this whole incident that follows Carrington longer than the actual foul. Why? Because basketball rules can be used to determine the foul. The post starts a completely separate discussion. You are leveling a severe claim when you openly imply that race had an impact on an officiating judgment. Furthermore, significant charges necessitate serious proof. People will contest the assertion in the absence of that proof. That's precisely what took place. Cunningham turned down the proposal. Fans started fighting. When it was picked up by sports media, the discussion surrounding the post quickly overshadowed the original file. This is the predicament facing today's athletes. Your platform is enormous. Although you can reply right away, you have no control over what occurs after you hit submit. Your words have the potential to make headlines. They might turn into clips. They can turn into disputes and stay on the internet long after the feeling that prompted you to write them has subsided. Additionally, just because Cunningham was the victim of this specific offense does not make her a flawless hero. She is a professional athlete who competes. Her public remarks have sparked a lot of discussion, and she has had her own contentious moments. She has also been involved in a high-profile, blatantly offensive issue in the past. Therefore, we should demand consistency from everyone if we are going to demand it from Carrington. It was acceptable because it shouldn't be expected that my favorite player did it. Adhering to the rules should be the norm. If it wasn't, then regardless of who committed the foul, the same standard needs to be used. In this way, sports continue to be sports. Furthermore, Carrington isn't the most fascinating aspect of the whole narrative. It's not Cunningham. It's the current atmosphere around the WNBA. More people are aware of the league than before. The platforms used by the players are bigger. Every debate spreads quickly, and the audience is larger. As a result, players are now competing against more than just the opponent in front of them. Millions of people are watching them compete. Every foul has the potential to spark a discussion. Any look on the face has the potential to become a meme. Every social media post has the potential to make national headlines. Therefore, each argument has the potential to turn into a cultural conflict. That's a wonderful potential for the league, but it's also a huge duty because players, coaches, officials, and fans must manage these situations more carefully the more exposure the WNBA receives. What happens to Carrington is now the crucial question. The league may examine the situation and decide if more sanctions are necessary. Regardless of the final outcome, the social media controversy won't go away. And that's because there are now more than one foul involved. It has to do with trust. Do athletes have faith in the referees? Do supporters think the league consistently enforces the rules? Do athletes feel free to voice their ideas in public? How should an athlete react if they feel they have been treated unfairly? There are no easy answers to those questions. One thing is for sure, though, the WNBA doesn't need these disputes to get personal. Professional sports include intense competition. There must be a line, and it should apply to everyone. Arguments, harsh fouls, and emotions all occur. Perhaps the most important lesson to be learned from this whole affair is actually quite straightforward. You don't have to make an unfounded claim to feel furious. A referee may disagree with you. You can see that the call was unjust. You are capable of self-defense. You can even be critical of the league. However, the threshold of proof must rise significantly once the dispute turns into one involving race, prejudice, or deliberate targeting. Fans are in the same boat. Don't assume you know someone's motivations just because you saw a viral video. You caught a glimpse. You were unable to look into their minds. You have no idea exactly what they were contemplating. Furthermore, you should never use a sports controversy as a pretext to disparage someone on the internet. That also holds true for those who support Carrington. Both Cunningham supporters and spectators on the sidelines are subject to this. What actually took place then? During a fast break opportunity, DiJonai Carrington gave Sophie Cunningham a high foul. After reviewing the play, the authorities upped it to a flagrant 2. Carrington was thrown out. Cunningham responded with rage. Carrington then shared the contentious statement about white privilege on social media. Claims that Carrington explicitly threatened Cunningham online should not be reported as truth without solid proof, even though that post sparked a whole new debate. And since this story is already sufficiently dramatic, that distinction is crucial. Whether we may exaggerate the controversy is not the true question. The true question is whether we can have an honest conversation about it. Basketball is meant to be a competitive sport. Players are expected to have a strong sense of passion. Fans are expected to argue. However, there ought to be space for accountability, respect, and perspective even after the last bell sounds. Carrington and Cunningham will eventually advance to the next game. So that's exactly what this situation needs right now. Another dispute will be discovered by the fans. There will be another video that goes viral. Social media will be dominated by another dispute. But what counts most is the criteria by which we evaluate these instances. What do you think, then? Were Carrington's 2 blatant ejections warranted? Was the frustration she expressed on social media understandable? Or did it worsen the circumstances? And should athletes exercise greater caution when leveling grave claims right after an emotional incident? Please share your thoughts in the comments section.